Hey, fearlessly free and wealthy females, it's Sarah here again. Today's topic for Sell from Your Heart is all about relationship building. And it's such an interesting topic for me, and I've been loving seeing all your responses. And I wasn't going to come on here live today, but after seeing some of these responses, I was like, you know what? We need to talk about this a little bit more because I find it super interesting. So if you're watching the replay, say hi, give me a hashtag replay. If you are watching live, I'm going to wait a little bit here until I see some of you guys coming on. I'm about to give you some really amazing information and opinionated information, because I called this challenge the Sell from Your Heart challenge. I didn't call it the Boost Your Sales challenge or anything like that, because I'll tell you why in a little bit. But basically, I've seen a lot of you kind of just talking about what type of relationship building you're doing, or what you feel like you're doing, and how you kind of don't even know how to approach this topic. And this is why we're here, right? Like, this is why we're kind of all telling each other we're participating in the challenge, where we are letting each other know that yes, we need a little bit of help. We need a little bit of encouragement to really boost our sales. Because let me tell you one thing, you guys. If you are not selling in your business, if there is nothing that you are selling, you don't have a business, okay? I mean that in the best of intentions, but businesses sell, okay? You need to sell to have a business. If you are not selling, you can kind of consider yourself a charity, you can consider yourself a nonprofit, whatever you do, but you're selling to someone. Okay, so we need to start feeling good about that aspect of everything that we do. And we need to understand that if we don't have that aspect down, and if we're not really actively doing that in a way that feels good to us, and not necessarily a way that feels good to someone else, or a way that someone else told you to do it, it's not really going to work for us either. So if you're watching live, feel free to say hi. Tell me where you're watching from. I'd love to hear from you. I actually just got out of the shower not too long ago, so I feel like my hair is frizzy, but I'm just going with it. So with your sales and like with your creating relationships, which is what we're talking about today, there are going to be a lot of different opinions that you see online, and even just like in every single industry, about this whole idea of cold messaging. And what you really need to do to really ask yourself if that's something that works, quote unquote works, or if it's something that that you want to use, is you need to see inside of yourself and ask yourself, when other people cold message me, do I like that? Do I like that? Okay, so what aspects of cold messaging do I actually like myself? Okay, and so this is where things get really opinionated, because for me personally, I don't like cold messaging. I don't find that it works. I don't teach my clients to do cold messaging. But what I do find that I have really enjoyed is when people just start talking to me. They tell me like, hey, I've seen you around, you know, or they tell me, welcome to my group. Is there anything I can help you with? And I'm like, hey, you know what? I actually really like that. So I do that as well. Do you think those people sold to me right afterwards? No, they didn't. Okay, in fact, there's one woman who I joined her Facebook group like years ago, and I've just been like completely in love with everything she's doing ever since. She's making six figures in her business. She's talked to me multiple times. I've never purchased from her. I'm probably going to purchase from her one day, but she didn't need to cold message me to make six figures in her business. Does that make sense? So you don't have to do that. Okay, I want you guys all to know that you don't need to be cold messaging people to make serious bank in your business, okay? Whether you're a graphic designer, whether you're a VA, whether you're a health coach, whether you're a yoga teacher, whether you're a business coach, any type of field, okay? I've worked with people from so many different fields. And this, like, it's not about the field that you're in. And sometimes if you feel like it is about the field that you're in, you might be in a mindset issue yourself. Okay, but it is about how you feel about that. So for example, I have a client who we were talking about Instagram, and we were talking about, oh, hey, Jessica, how are you? Tell me, do you like cold messaging? Just let me know. Like, what about cold messaging feels good to you? So we were talking about Instagram, and she was talking about, how she gets, like, on the daily, she just keeps on getting these messages from people who are just like, buy my thing, or like, I have this awesome product, or, like, do you want more followers? Like, click on this link. And she hates it. She hates it. And I'm like, well, then you're definitely not doing that. I wouldn't even suggest that she does that, because I personally don't like that. But what I do find really effective is when, let's say, for example, I'm following someone and someone's just like, oh, hey, like, I've noticed that you've been following some of my posts. I just wanted to connect with you. I actually really like that. I'm like, hey, that seems really genuine to me. That seems really good to me. So let's do that. Jessica says, I'm doing great. I hope that you're well. I am. I'm a little bit tired today, on my time of the month, but I'm just kind of trying to rest and at the same time be available to you guys. So, I hate getting cold messages and I don't want to send them myself. Exactly. See, so there you go. So you will not be the type of person who's going to send them. That's fine. You need to decide what type of relationship building feels good to you, right? At the same time, if I had a client who's like, yeah, I'm going to cold message people, like that's, like I actually really liked it. There's this one time that I did have a cold message and it worked. Like I had a coach who was cold messaged about VA services, and she really liked it because at that point in time, she was looking for a VA. So she's like, you know what? Oh my goodness, you actually have the guts to do this. Let's go for it, okay? Not everyone's gonna have the same perspective about relationship building and cold messaging. I don't like it, okay? But that doesn't mean that if one of my clients wants to do it, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna completely stop them from doing it. They're very helpful ways that you can do it though, okay? So it's not, and I know some of my clients have come up to me and been like, oh, like my teams or whoever, someone told me to cold message this way, but I don't feel comfortable with it. And I'm like, you know what, just messaging people right off of the bat and just selling them your services makes people feel like a number, okay? It really makes people feel like a number. And so that's why I never teach that. That's not something that I enjoy teaching. That's not a perspective that I teach from. I've fully booked out my business, my coaching business multiple times, okay? And I've never had to cold sell. I've never done that, all right? Because ultimately for me, I don't like it. Oh, hey, Orly, how are you? So here are some ways that you can relationship build without quote unquote cold messaging, okay? And for one, you definitely need your email list. And with your email list, it's not like you are going to be selling them all of the time, but you want to make sure that you are building a relationship with your email list. So if you think about building a relationship, Jessica says, so how have you done it? Okay, I'm going to get to that. Awesome. Great question. So your email list is ultimately every single time that they receive an email from you, what you want them to ultimately have is you want them to be able to feel like, oh my goodness, like I can totally relate to her, or, like she's giving me really good tips, or, hey, I can really learn from this, or I really appreciate what she's been telling me today. And then throughout the time of creating a relationship from your email list, then for the people who are interested in working with you more, you always have to do that ask, okay? Once again, if you're not selling in a business, you don't have a business, okay? If you're not creating sales, you're not creating profits, and that's essentially what a business is. It's a service that is profitable, okay? So you need to make sure that you're asking people to take that next step. And the thing is that not everyone's gonna want that next step, and that's fine. In fact, 95%, usually on average, 95% of your email list or of your community is never gonna buy from you, okay? That is a fact within the online industry. All right. Sometimes you can go to 10%, sometimes you can even go to 20%. And that's with specific relationship building techniques that I've even personally done within my business, but that is not through cold messaging. Okay. That's from very specific relationship building techniques that you can do. And if anyone's watching the replay as well, by the way, if you're watching it right now, and if you feel like you still have any questions about this, then let me know, put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. So what you want to be doing is you want to be creating relationships, giving value, and then asking for that sale but asking for that sale in a way that you know that you're going to be helping that person out, okay? Because when you do it in a way where you're just like, you know what, I can really freaking help you with this one thing, and oh my goodness, your life on the other side of this one thing is going to be amazing. That is what you want to try to communicate with your community. Now, here's where the tricky part comes in. Not everyone's going to want, I mean, think about it. 95% of your email list, for example, isn't going to buy from you. And for some people, like for me, that number's a little bit lower. So it might be like 90% of your email list isn't going to buy from you. So that means that 90% isn't going to care when you write that email, okay? Or that 90% isn't going to care when you do that Facebook Live. Maybe some of that 90% is just like, oh, you know, like I actually don't really want this girl's services. I actually don't really find this girl's stuff valuable. Unsubscribe. But that's fine. What we need to understand is that we are here for those people who want to up-level, the people who want to take their lives into the next level, the people who want to take their nutrition into the next level. How many people actually want to lose weight? And how many people never end up getting there because they don't put anything into action, they don't have accountability, they don't have support, and really it's just not a priority for them, right? Whereas you hear about those success stories all the time of people who actually really put in the work, hired a coach, and lost the weight. And so that's who you want to be targeting every single time that you're relationship building as well. You want to be targeting the person who really wants to see that change. Okay, and it's not going to be 100% of your community. It's going to be a lot lower than that. But how can you still be present for your entire community? Okay, so maybe those women who are never going to put in like all 100% of the effort, and the women who are never going to seek support for that weight loss, maybe they won't be your one-on-one clients, but they're still in your community for a reason, and they're still going to get value from you for a reason. How can you be available for them anyways? Okay. And so this is the way that I teach selling and relationship building. It's not about creating that one sale. It's about servicing your entire community, okay? Servicing your entire community. And then for those people who want to take it a step further, those people who are really ready to up level, asking for the sale, okay? Ask to everyone. There are going to be those people who are always coming through because they're like, hell yes, I've loved everything that you've been talking about. I've been looking for someone to help me with this for a really long time. Let's do this, okay? It's not going to be everyone, but it is going to be those select people. And if you're only approaching selling from that one little part of the puzzle of like, I just really need this sale, I'm just going to cold message my entire community, it's going to be desperation and it's not going to feel good to you. But if you approach your entire business as this massive thing of value where you're just like, oh my goodness, you know, like I can help these people with this. Even if this person never buys from me, I can still help them with X, Y, Z that they asked me about. That's when you're going to create a really solid, profitable business. Jessica, does that make sense? It's about the long term as well. There's some people who are going to be ready to buy from you right away, but it's also about the long-term relationship building. So that's another thing that I just wanted to clarify for today. And anyone who just seeing this live right now is getting really freaking amazing value, because this is the type of stuff that I really only spend time with my one-on-one clients for, because this is very, very important. This is something that a lot of coaches aren't going to teach you. Okay, because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're actually getting down to the way that you make money, but make money in a way that feels really good to you. Jessica, I'm glad that all of this is connecting with you as well. Yes, so you really do, you need to sell, okay? But you don't need to do cold messaging with selling, okay? Like I have clients who just send emails and they sell all of their things through emails. You know, they book calls via emails. I have clients who just book calls like via Facebook groups and doing Facebook marketing, because that's the type of stuff that they love, and that's the type of stuff that their communities have just really, really enjoyed as well. Jessica says, I feel overwhelmed at the thought of creating all that email content for my list. Well, think about it this way. You're only really sending, let's say, like 1 or 2 emails a week. There's also a lot of really smart ways to create content. So to bunch up your content, let's say like do all of your content in one day for the entire month and then schedule it in. That's another thing that is really, really helpful for your business and in the way of doing emails. But ultimately, you want to keep the relationship going. So if I can leave you with one thing for this live, it would be this. Keep your relationship going. Okay, so keep the relationship going. You're not doing a sprint. You are doing a marathon with your business, because your business isn't going to be lasting the next 1 or 2 months. Your business is going to be lasting for years to come. Okay, and the people who you create relationships with today, like real relationships where you're not just like messaging them and being like, oh, hey, by the way, like I have this like one-on-one program and I think you'd be a great fit for it. If you're creating real relationships with them, asking them what their struggles are, supporting them without selling them on them right away. I'm a huge, huge advocate for this. Like, I pretty much never sell to people when they message me, unless the conversation goes on and on and on, and I'm like, okay, this person clearly is really excited about all this stuff and could really need my help. That is when you're going to create those lasting relationships. And that is when you're going to have people who then, even from those conversations that you have with them, when you really, really get to help them, are going to come around and they're going to ask you for it. Okay? I hope that that makes sense. This is a very, very intricate subject. I could go on and on and on about this. This is also going to be something that we talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking all about overcoming money objections. And we're also going to be talking about my personal sales process that I use within my sales calls that really, really helps me to have a close to 80% close rate on my sales calls. Oh, and we have the masterclass tomorrow. So the masterclass tomorrow, 5 ways to get your next 5 clients, is going on at 2 p.m. Even if you're not, so if you're registered for the challenge, you're already registered for the masterclass. If you want to go deeper, and so if you're not even registered for the challenge, you can go ahead and see the event that I posted about the masterclass. I think I posted it yesterday, but we're definitely going to go into all of this a little bit more. But relationship building is a huge piece of it. Let's just close here by saying you do not need to cold message to do relationship building. It needs to feel good to you. It needs to feel aligned to you. Okay? Let me know if you, even if you're watching the replay, let me know if you have any other comments or questions about this. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.